So, I'm working on the caliper brackets. This is the kind of the initial test mock-up bracket that kind of one size fits all kind of thing. It's of course it's offset, which if anybody knows makes making universal brackets very hard when you make offset, especially with right angle stuff. But it's just a piece of I don't know, 2-inch, quarter-inch angle iron. Anyways, this bracket is designed to be for the main calipers, the main calipers. It's designed to be biased towards the bottom, so taller, longer down the bottom, for no reason other than just extra surface to mount. You can see it sits on the inside of that flange, axle flange, and it bolts up there, and then we'll come off of this flat surface, which I know it's kind of dark. Turn the flashlight on. We'll weld on right here with a flat iron, and that's where the calipers will mount to itself. But you notice this sits like this with that angle going in towards the frame rail. But if you flip it like so, that longer top side, that longer end becomes the top end, and it will work on the exact same side over down here on the opposite end, kind of like that, and that gives us mounting area for our emergency brake caliper. And then this is on the driver's side. And don't ask me how this works because I don't actually have a clue. It's inverted, so it's doing the inverted thing. So pretty much, we can just mirror this, just copy this on another piece of angle iron and mirror it, and then we'll get the exact same bracket, but reversed for this other side. And kind of the same principle. It'll do the same thing, of course, but it will be reversed. And then same thing with this over here. But it's yeah. So I'm in the process making one more of this side, and then I've got 2 mirrored image sides, and that's what these are right here. They're still a little bit warm. They just got done cutting them. But this is the non-mirror side. This is supposed to match the original. This is the driver's side brackets. See, so they're mirrored. Or they're not mirrored, but they're the same. But then this one right here is the mirrored one. And that is this mirrored one is going to be for the passenger side, and we'll make 2 of these, and then they'll have the same effect. They'll be able to flip. We'll be able to flip it up and down like that for emergency and or normal brake caliper. Yeah, kind of cool. This works on the other side as well, on the fronts. When I did the fronts, but you just make one bracket for one end. Usually you're not doing 2 calipers, so this is definitely a little bit more extreme. But for one caliper, just make one bracket, and then usually you should be able to mirror it, and it will flip over for the other side. But yeah, just nothing fancy. Angle iron, drill bit, pilot bit, and then a main size bit, and then an angle grinder, or cutoff wheel with a 40 grit, or something belt sander, or not belt sander, but flat disc, that's the word. So yeah, but it's pretty much, this is pretty much the premise of what we're going to be going off of. Of course, you still got to make the flat tabs that mount here and that actually connect the calipers. That's going to be a little bit work. Pretty much going to be as simple as using flat strap, nothing fancy, and then just trying to grind and mimic this natural radius here onto this piece, and just where it can sit flush, and then we'll drill it out and then mount it. And then if we have enough room, and or if it's just obviously not going to be strong enough, rigid enough, we can do a gusset, and the gut, and it will sit, basically sit like this, pretty much, and then that's what the caliper will mount to. And then if we have room, and or if it's not strong enough, we'll do a gusset and connect the two and reinforce it even more but I think it'll be pretty strong. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. I got the last one for the passenger side. I gotta get it, cut it out with the torch, and then start grinding it, and drilling the holes, and get back to it. So yeah, the driver's side's obviously both mounted. The passenger sides haven't been drilled out yet for the mounts, for the bolts, but I'm working on that. Anyways, working on the caliper bracket mounts now. This is the bottom. It's just tacked on right now. It'll be welded fully. Don't you worry. But kind of just a real simple mount. Just a little bit of flat iron, a hole in it, and that little radius I was talking about earlier, kind of on that edge. This little radius right here, to kind of fit in that caliper. We got to work on the top now, but just fitting these things. A little bit of a tip, kind of. I've got little grade 8 washers, but it can be any kind of washer really. Let me see if I can get this off. Take this one out this way. It's just a little grade 8 washer. It's real thin, and I use them just for spacers. You know, it's kind of hard. You know, you don't really appreciate. You know, on a vehicle that these things that come on. You know, like a Mustang, or when a vehicle already has brakes and stuff. You know, you don't really appreciate. You know, all the measurements and mounting's done. You know, you've mounted up to the flange and it's good, it's aligned, nothing's gonna rub, it's clearance perfectly. These, on the other hand, to this is absolutely chaotic. The front and the fronts turned out a lot more easy than I thought they would. But anyways, so I figured just using these little washers as shims, pretty much. You can see where they've been rubbing against the rotors and everything, but it allows me to space out the caliper against the rotor, and that way I can pretty much just kind of hold it against this stuff, and that way once you take them off, you'll have not much clearance, but a tiny bit of clearance. And of course, you know, obviously you don't want to try to, like on these ends right here, you don't really want to try to use that clearance. You want to have a little bit more than that, obviously. But as far as like these side profiles and stuff, I find that they help keep it kind of straight and kind of, you know, spaced out, centered, and kind of center it out. As well as the pads. Whenever we mount these things and we're mocking these things up to figure out the mounting, using the pads, the edge of the pad, it's kind of hard to show, but like on these edge of the pads right here, to the kind of corresponding to the rotor, I use that a lot too to kind of help mock it up. That way we know if the pads are going to be making full contact. If they're, you know, full contact against the rotor, if they're going to be more biased to the bottom or biased to the top. You know, you want to kind of, you know, ride that edge a little bit, that we don't get a lip. But yeah. So I'm going to put this on real quick just so you can see kind of what it looks like, and that way I can make my top bracket little mount, and then we'll work on the passenger side. So here's the caliper mounted, only one bolt, only the bottom bolt. See, we're working with that top mount. I'm not to make that yet still, but this is kind of what I was talking about though. You can see the brake pad, kind of hard to see, but it's right on that edge. Let's see if I can get a better shot. Right there. It's just barely kind of, oh god. Barely kind of over that lip of the rotor. Now again, it's probably not the most perfect in spec. Ford's probably killing themselves right now alongside Brembo and Willwood, but I find that it works. It does work. And then it might sound like crap because it's rubbing the tape on those washers, but you take those off and it'll be clearance. So that's kind of the point of that, and it free rotates still, so it's not much. There's not too much incredible pressure on it. So yeah, I'm gonna call that a win. But anyways, of course the pistons are collapsed. So you know, there's, mind you, that's gonna be something that's gonna change as well once your stuff starts compressing. But yeah, we'll address that when we get there. But basically though, aside from that, that's what we're working with. It kind of is canted like that, you know, up. Not exactly the intent, but just kind of how it turns out. But I think it actually looks okay. I think the main thing is, as long as the bleeder is somewhat vertical, where the air can get out, I think that's the main thing. Hopefully it won't be a big of a deal. I know some, different generation cars and stuff have, a lot more canted of an angle. But again, these are off of a Mustang. The Mustang is supposed to be in the front and at a certain angle, so everything's already kind of backwards, to be honest with you. But we'll see how it works. We shall see. And I can skid over here. And actually, this is actually the right-hand side caliper. Of course, because obviously the left-hand side caliper is actually designed to be, on that interior, towards the back, it would be. But yeah. So I'm gonna make me a bracket that goes in here, and I'm gonna weld it to this. Pretty tight, obviously. It pretty much rests on it, which is kind of a good thing, also kind of a bad thing, I guess, depending on who you are. I kind of like it because for the other side, that tells me that, as long as I copy this flange for this, the flange mount pattern for this bracket on the other side, I can pretty much just say, hey, I can bolt this bracket down, make sure it's relatively close, and then make a similar bracket like that and do the exact same thing, and then essentially know that this is kind of a good premise of, to pivot off of. You hold it against this, and then you pivot the bottom part of the caliper until that bracket fits flush, and then there you go. And of course, using your pads against the rotor for kind of that secondary alignment, but that being the main one. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, other than that though, I mean, it looks really good. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I've seen this in my head so many times, and now seeing it in like real life is insane. But yeah, so for the rest of the night, it's kind of early, 8:30, 8:26. On a Sunday, so 2 weekends away, I think it is, or maybe 1 weekend away from concert tour. See Sabrina Carpenter again. Noah is a Sabrina Carpenter fan, so trying to get the brakes ready before then. Don't know if they're gonna get painted before then, but trying to get them at least installed and plumbed and tested before the concert. That's the ultimate goal. We're probably not gonna have the emergency brake calipers mounted. The brackets are there, but just I don't know. I want to prioritize these first. Once we get these absolute functioning 100%, then we'll go on the emergency brake, parking brake kind of caliper thing. We'll worry about that later. But for the main part, though, I just want to focus and prioritize these right now. We won't have a parking brake, but unfortunately, that's just one of those things. We'll carry around a block of wood or some wheel chucks and roll like that. It's going to be interesting, but we'll just have to roll like that, I guess. But anyways, yeah. So it's been a long time coming. We're getting super, super close. I am very excited. So I'm going to finish up that bracket. I'll bring y'all back in to show you what one side looks like, bolted up and really welded up. And then I'll try to get the rest done on the passenger side. I might do that off camera. I've done a lot of this off camera, but I'll try to do that off camera just so I can, for the sake of time. And that way I don't wait show up to work tomorrow dead. But yeah, so we'll get that done. And then throughout the week, I'll try to find all the fittings we need to bring our hard line, forward line to the new big boy calipers. But yeah, so I'll bring y'all back in. Thanks.